You've felt it before, walking into a home that should feel right and something about it still falls flat. It's never the couch giving it away. It's 5 quiet choices working against the room without anyone clocking why. Today we're naming every one of them and exactly how to fix each one. This isn't about spending more or buying more. It's about 5 specific choices almost nobody stops to question, the kind that quietly decide whether a room feels chosen or just filled. We'll go through each one, why it matters more than it looks, and the fix. Open a kitchen cabinet and look at the pull. Walk to the bathroom and look at the faucet. Most people have never done this in the same 5 minutes, but if they did, they'd probably find 3 or 4 different metals living in the same house. Brushed nickel here, oil-rubbed bronze there, a chrome faucet that snuck in during a quick replacement years ago. None of them is wrong on its own. Together, they're the reason a home can be fully furnished and still feel like nothing was decided. Here's the part most people miss even after they notice the mismatch. They fix the obvious pieces, the pulls and the faucet, and stop there. But finish creep hides in the places nobody double checks. Light switch plates, vent covers, curtain rods, even door hinges. Committing to one finish only counts if it's everywhere it shows up, not just where it was easy to swap. Cabinets and faucets aren't the only place this blindness to repetition hides. It shows up bigger, in the furniture itself. Most matching leg living rooms didn't happen by accident. They happened because a single sofa and 2 chair set was easier to buy and easier to imagine than 3 separate pieces. Furniture stores build entire collections around that ease. So when a room feels like a showroom floor, it's often because it was furnished the way a showroom floor is built. One set, one moment, one decision. The part people get wrong once they try to fix this is overcorrecting, swapping a matching set for 3 unrelated pieces with nothing tying them together, which just trades 2 matched for 2 scattered. The real fix is variation with a thread. Let the leg style differ, but keep one element consistent, whether that's a wood tone, a color family, or a similar scale. That single connector is what turns different furniture into a room that was put together on purpose. Furniture isn't the only thing in that room working against you. So is whatever's sitting in its corners pretending to be alive. There's a 1-second test almost everyone runs without realizing it. Walk past a plant, and some part of you registers texture, weight, and slight imperfection before your conscious mind even gets to, is that real? Most artificial greenery fails that test instantly. Uniform color, the same rigid shine top to bottom, leaves that don't shift the same way under the same light. It can look convincing in a still photo and still read as fake the moment you're standing in front of it. The deeper mistake, even for people who do upgrade to better fake plants, is keeping them looking too pristine. Real plants are never perfectly uniform. A leaf yellows, dust settles, growth is slightly lopsided. Choosing a matte, irregularly colored plant solves half the problem. The other half is resisting the urge to keep it looking brand new. A little imperfection is what makes it convincing. Some things failed the realism test. Others never had a job to do in the first place. There's a fast way to tell if a piece in your home is decoration or just filler. Try to explain in one sentence why that exact object is on that exact wall. It was the right size for the space isn't an answer, it's an admission. A giant clock with no relationship to anything else in the room, or a mirror hung at a height nobody actually looks into, almost always started as a solution to an empty wall, not a decision about what that wall needed. The part people get wrong when they try to fix this is replacing one purposeless piece with another purposeless piece. A different big clock, a different big mirror, still chosen for the gap rather than the meaning. Sometimes the real fix is smaller, a piece you can explain in one sentence, or nothing at all. An empty wall left alone reads as more intentional than a wall filled with something that's only there to be filled. A piece can earn its spot on a wall and still feel wrong if it's standing there completely alone. A single vase centered on a shelf, one candle in the middle of a console table. These read as placed rather than designed, because a lone object photographs fine but has nowhere to lead the eye in person. There's no journey, just one point and then nothing. The part that trips people up once they try grouping things is filling that empty surface with 3 or 4 objects that are all purely decorative, which just turns one lonely item into a cluttered little display instead of a real moment. A grouping only works if at least one piece is something you actually use. A tray you set your keys on, a bowl you grab fruit from. Mix heights. Keep it functional, and the moment stops looking staged and starts looking lived in. Every one of these comes back to the same single question, asked 5 different ways. Was this decided, or did it just happen? A finish, a leg, a leaf, a wall, a shelf. None of it needs to cost more to answer that question differently. It just needs someone in the room willing to ask it. There's more nuance in each of these than one video could ever hold, so if there's something in your home you've been quietly questioning, say so in the comments. I'd genuinely love to help you work through it. And if this kind of breakdown helps you see your space differently, subscribe so the next one finds you.